everyone, it's Brett here, Lionheart84, and I wanted to do a sort of a further fig video, as we've been in the last few days. I've done a couple of sort of breba tasting and weighing videos, and I've just wanted to talk about the size of figs a little bit in this video, but more importantly the variation in size of figs on exactly the same plants. Now all of these figs have been picked today. It's actually the 30th of July when I filmed this, and all of these figs are off the same tree, the unnamed one that I've featured in the last week or so when I've done brebas and measured them. And it's particularly brebas that I'm talking about, because I've noticed there's a tendency for the brebas to vary hugely in size, as you can see, even on the same tree, ripening at exactly the same time, but the difference in size between them. So, you know, when you've got a fig tree and you might be disappointed with the size, there's a lot of things that can govern what affects the size of these. It might be on a particular stem that is particularly vigorous. It might be on a part of the tree that gets more or less sun. It might even be when it rains that the plant sends more sap to some branches than others, but there's no obvious reason when I look at the branches on the tree as to why some of these brebas would be this size and some of this size. And the point is, at the end of the day, if they ripen and taste nice, it doesn't really matter whether you've got small figs or large figs. In fact, sometimes the smaller ones are actually sweeter and got more intensity in them, because it's more concentrated into a small fig like that, whereas a large one like this might tend to be watery. So I just thought I'd show the variation in them and also weigh them as well, so you can see just how much excuse me, just how much they vary in size and weight. So if I just turn the scales on here a minute, and we're in grams. Now I would say we'll start with the smallest one. This is actually below average size, and what I would say is that the main crop figs tend to be a lot more consistent in size than the brebas. But let's see what this small fig actually weighs. Now that's only 37 grams, which will be just under that's 1.3 ounces. Now I would say this fig here is a little bit smaller than the supermarket figs. When you buy a box of about a punnet of 4 or 5, or a box of 4 or 5 figs, they're probably a little bit bigger than this. So I'm going to guess this one's more like, that's 42 grams. I would say the ones you buy tend to be about 50 or 60 grams. Now this size here is bigger than considerably bigger than I would say the average supermarket fig saw. So we'll see what size that comes out at. Now we're up to 87 grams, so we're getting to quite a substantial size fig now. You'd be lucky if you could buy figs this size in the supermarket. Just to give you an idea of the size in my hands, that is actually quite a respectable size fig, and that comes out at 3.1 ounces. We move up to the next size one I've got, and bear in mind these were all picked today off the same plant. This one is probably about the same size. No, it's large. It just goes to show sometimes looks can be deceiving. That's 113 grams, 4 ounces exactly, so that's a quarter of a pound, that fig. Didn't mean to turn off the scales there. And the last one, which is probably the largest breba I've had, and I picked that, and that's definitely ripe. That one is a remarkable 172 grams, so that's the largest fig I've had off the plant this year. And I'm going to say that the main crop figs will be extremely unlikely to get to that size. That's pretty huge for a fig off one of my plants, and that's 6.1 ounces. So that is a fair old size for a fig. But what I wanted to do, just very quickly on camera, is cut the smallest one in half, If I can manage to do that left-handed, might be easier said than done without squashing it. I wanted to cut the smallest one in half so you could see the inside of it. You can see that's got a good amount of red flesh on that. And I'm going to compare it with the colour and the jamminess of the largest one. It's probably just starting to go past its best date. And the wasps must like it because I've got bees and wasps approaching. And you can see that's got some syrup, a little bit of syrupy juice inside it. But that looks like a nice fig inside. The small one looks frankly just as good as the large one. Just going to taste this small one just to see what the flavour is like on it. Yep, sweet. Tastes as nice as the large one I had the other day And what I think I'll do is just pause the video and go and get my refractometer so I can measure the bricks on them if I can manage to. Be back in a second. Right, so I've brought the refractometer out and I've put a little bit of the syrup or juice from the small fig onto here. Now it's a little bit hard to get a reading on these normally, so I'm just going to have a look and tell you what it is. Okay, that's showing a bricks of 21. So that's actually it's pretty good. It's not easy when they've got a thick juice in them. So that's showing 21 on that fig, which I'm just going to eat to clear the plate a little bit. Now, I'm going to pause it again while I clean the refractometer off. Okay, so I've now taken some of the syrup from the middle of the large fig and I'm going to just look at the reading on that, and that is only 17. So that just goes to show you that the sugar content was actually higher on the small fig than on the large fig. So very unpredictable. I'm just going to taste this one, see what the flavour's like. Lovely flavour, but you can actually tell that it doesn't taste as sweet as a small one. So sometimes it pays you, cut through that one, sometimes you're actually better off with the smaller figs because they've got more concentrated sugars and syrups in them than the large ones. The large ones might be a little bit watery. It's true what they say, size doesn't matter, or at least when it's referring to figs anyway. So anyway, I thought it would interest people that might like to know what the bricks on them was and to see the huge variation in size even on the same tree here. And it doesn't matter if you're getting smaller figs, as long as they ripen like these ones, it's not a problem. I'm going to put the other two large ones in the fridge because although they lose a little bit of sweetness and juiciness, they'll last for several days. Don't want to eat them all now. But I thought people might appreciate if I just covered the difference in sizes and sugar content on the various figs. Anyway, thanks for watching the video, much appreciated. Please give me a thumbs up, please subscribe to my channel, share the video if you think it might interest anybody, and of course click on the bell to make sure that you get updates on new videos when they come out. I'll catch up with you on the next video. Brett out for now.